G'day ladies and gents, welcome to War Thunder with Mags. Well, with the 1.37 patch so close to release, most people aren't flying jets at the moment. So I've been having a lot of troubles trying to get jet battles to put up here. Everyone's been grinding around the between tier 10 to about tier 14, the optimal area for rapid grind, just to try and get those last aircraft we want unlocked to avoid the sort of big unknown that is going to be the new progression tree. However, last night I did manage to get a couple of battles in my new toys. Now, this is the F4 Meteor, this is the level 19 one. It is a monster. Now, I really enjoyed the level 18 F4, and people were telling me the level 19 one is so much better. I didn't think it was possible, but it is just an absolute beast. To give you an idea on what the performance difference in these two aircraft is, I have all the level 3 unlocks on my level 18 F4. The level 19 one here is dead stock, and I would say it outperforms it. Without a single modification at all, it's already outperforming the level 8 one that only has 2 more unlocks left to bolt on. It is a powerful, powerful machine. It's fast, it retains energy well, it climbs well. Just to give you an idea here, I was running a timer off the runway to find out, the scorecards are fairly wrong. What is this plane's actual climb rate? Dead stock, about 4,400 feet a minute. It took me 2 minutes to get to 8,800, but it may be higher because I did do that 90-degree turn just saying midway through the climb, which killed some of my speed and some of my climb rate in order to perform it. The armament on this aircraft is the same as all the other Meteors and pretty much all the British jets, 4 20mm Espano cannons with a decent ammunition load. The cockpit is pretty standard for the Meteors. It's got good upwards vision and reasonable rearward vision, but forward down or down from really any angle is not great. If you've got targets directly below the nose in this thing, you'll struggle to spot them. The instrumentation, however, is clear and easy to see, and there's not a lot of it to get in your way. So, what about combat? So, of course, we're on the Korean map, and it wouldn't be a good Korean jet battle unless almost the entire enemy team was in MiG-15s. That's what this battle was. This was an 8-on-8, 7 MiG-15s and a MiG-9 versus 1 F-Series Sabre, 1 F-8 Meteor, and the rest of us were in F-9Fs, 2 F4, the same as what I'm flying, so mostly tier 19s with 2 tier 20s. Now, we did actually win this. I didn't get any kills, however, but it was a good test. So, dive speed performance. No overspeed warning until 950 kilometers an hour, and it was easy to control and safely pull out of at that speed. I did actually hit 970 dead stock, which means with upgrades this thing will dive at over 1,000 kilometers an hour. Maneuverability and energy retention. Well, I just went vertical then to catch the MiG-15, rolled over, dived back, and still managed to keep it above 650 kilometers an hour. As you can see, the MiG-15s in a dive are outrunning me at the moment, but only once they've got the jump on me. Once I get them lined up, I'm actually dragging them back in. Dead stock, this aircraft is dragging MiG-15s back into gun range. AAA takes out one of the MiG-15s, the Sabre takes the second one vertical. Perfect opportunity to see how this thing performs in the vertical. Now, it did seem to lose more speed than I would like. Its energy retention didn't seem to be as nice as I was hoping it would be. That said, it still caught a MiG-15 in a vertical climb, so its energy retention may not appear to be good, at least to me, but apparently it's better than the MiG-15. I have a feeling this guy may not have been fully upgraded, but nonetheless. Now the MiG-15 drops its nose here, gets a little bit of a speed up. I was just doing a check over my shoulder there on the Sabre, make sure he was alright. He got away, he went down to land and get a repair and a reload. So we're shooting around the battlefield. I'm trying to catch this MiG-15 at the moment. We're running at relatively low energy at the moment. Now you would think the MiG-15 would pull away from the level 19 jet, but as you can see, it is getting away, but nowhere near as fast as you would expect it to. It's maybe extending 100 meters a second at tops. To get more out of it, the MiG-15 actually had to dive and lose a lot of the altitude he had been building up. So escaping wasn't as easy as he was hoping. So the MiG-15 got shot down anyway, so we come back in for the MiG-9. Now, perfect chance to do a manoeuvrability check. Now, I took a direct hit from the MiG-9 there. It redded the centre fuselage, but didn't impede the performance at all, so the F4 can take a hit. G tolerance on the fuselage seems to be pretty high. I was over 600 kilometres then, pulling between 7 to 9 Gs, and, well, nothing broke, which is always a good start, even after taking damage. Manoeuvrability, in a turn it doesn't yaw, but that's an issue that all the Meteors have. It doesn't roll incredibly well, although this model certainly rolls better than all the previous models of Meteor that I've flown. In the vertical, it turns very well. It rolls over and loops very nicely. Not quite well enough to catch the MiG-9, however, but well enough that the MiG-9 couldn't catch me either. However, dive performance, yeah, no contest. The MiG-9 had the chance to get a better dive on than I did, and I still just cleanly outrun it, no problems at all. Pull it straight into a split S here. Roll back out. Still doing near 500 kilometers an hour, no problems at all. Now, the gun issues I've had so far basically have been my bad shooting. It hasn't been anything to do with the plane. I could have got this MiG-9 here. I just screwed up and pre-rolled the wrong direction. But you saw how quickly it dragged that MiG-9 back in. That's another level 18, 19 aircraft. And this thing is just, I'm just toying with him at the moment. The other Meteor goes in, takes a kill. And that was this match over. It's been a long time since I got a victory in Korea. I didn't get a single kill on it, so that sort of sucked. So, next up for testing, the level 16 Yak-15. I've been trying to get my hands on this thing for a while because I wanted to test it. Everyone told me it was a terrible aircraft. I wanted to find out for myself. And I did, and I wish I'd just taken everybody's word for it. This thing is awful. From the time you push the throttle to 100%, it takes 16 seconds before the wheels even start rolling to get it to move when it's stock. It's 38 seconds to hit 100 kilometers an hour down the runway. It takes 54 seconds to get to a clean takeoff speed, 58 seconds to hit 200, and as you can see here, it took the entire length of this it's a moderate length runway on this map, it took the entire length of the runway to hit 220. It is just, that is crap. That is, bombers will toy with this thing if they ever catch it on the ground. Aerodynamically, you can see the exposed wheel wells underneath, probably not helping it any. Climb rate is non-existent. On my I did a timer test from the time I was wheels up to optimal climb, and I've got the numbers here. 2,700 feet per minute if I was willing to sacrifice speed in order to try and get the extra climb at burst. Otherwise it pulls it up at about 2,100 feet per minute best. It's just not fast enough. This thing's going to fight K4s and Bearcats. It's not climbing quick enough. The one thing I will give it, its cockpit was very nice. The gauges are nice and easy to see. Even though most of them are Russian, I was able to work out what they were. Its rear visibility is near perfect. That's better than the Zero's view out the back. You can see everything that could get in on your tail. Your downward visibility is good from pretty much every angle, except directly in front of the nose, obviously, but none of them have good views there. Gauges are in good positions. So after a long flight trying to get to the battle zone, in which, well, here's the fastest I ever managed to get it at a level flight. It's sitting at near its optimal altitude, and I managed to get it just under 500 kilometers an hour. That's all it could do. I finally spot a target, and this map had a lot of Death Stars on it. Now, I'm probably not going to be able to kill one, but seeing what I can actually do to one is probably a good measure of this thing's firepower. So let's go and play with the Death Star and see what this thing is capable of. So first things up, we go into a dive. Let's test its dive performance. Yep, that was the overspeed warning kicking in at 780, and it was very hard to pull this out of that speed safely without it trying to shake itself apart. It very, very quickly became violent. Now, level 13 prop fighters will dive at near 900. This is a level 16 jet, and seriously, 780, that's the best it can do before it starts risking killing itself. 120mm. Now, I will give it to this. That 120mm has laser-like accuracy. I aimed up the gunner's slot in the centre of the back of the Death Star there, take out its 20mm cannons. That burst ripped up the elevators, ripped up the rudder, and killed the centre gunner on the 20mm instantly. So, I was pretty impressed with that. That little 20mm is just very, very, very good for sniping. Fire for a couple more bursts to try and take out the elevators. Click. That's the entire ammunition load on this thing. There is no upgrade to give it more. 3 seconds of solid bursting empties this thing's drums, and that's all it can carry. So its gun would want to be bloody accurate. Now at this point I was honestly sick and tired of flying this aircraft, so I was going to cruise back to base and try and get a reload in on it anyway and see if I could get anything more out of it. Then I come across an N1K ahead of me, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to nose this bastard with no ammunition and see whether or not this thing is actually at least capable of taking a hit. You know, maybe that will be the balancing factor on this aircraft. It is rather small. It's reasonably maneuverable. Count the hits. 2. One hit the right wing, didn't do any damage. Second one hit the centre fuselage and immediately detonated the aircraft. So, first impressions of the level 16 Yak-15. Well, it's slow and sluggish to respond on takeoff. It doesn't gain speed. It doesn't climb, it doesn't accelerate, it doesn't dive. It is reasonably maneuverable, and its gun is reasonably... well, its gun is very, very accurate, let's be honest. But basically, it would be slow to get off the ground, slow to get to the target. If there was any target that it could keep up with when it finally got to the battleground, it simply doesn't have the firepower to be able to kill it without having somebody who is exceptionally good at sniping cockpits. Otherwise, this thing's going to be constantly on the ground trying to get reloads on that tiny little ammunition drum, and well, you saw how quickly it takes to get off the ground. I'm normally a completionist with aircraft. Unless in the time it takes me to get through the free repairs I've got on this thing, which I have 9 more battles in, I see something that catches my interest in this plane, it's likely going to be the first one that gets put aside and I will likely never fully unlock. This thing, however, is a total boss. It's fast, it climbs well, it's reasonably maneuverable, it carries massive amounts of firepower. It is just an awesome machine. I've been told the F8, and I actually haven't flown my F8 yet. I've bought it, I haven't assigned it to a crew, so it will be coming up in another video soon. I've been told the F8 is only slightly better than the F4, which is part of its downside, why it isn't as competitive against level 20 jets as, say, things like the Sabre. After what I experienced, my first flight in this thing, even if the F8 is only slightly better than this thing, it will be competitive in the right hands. I have suddenly become very, very, very interested in exactly what that F8 is going to be able to do. And if it turns out to be not as good as the F4, well, that's fine. I'll fly the F4 against the MiG-15s, because this thing is just evil. Anyways, that's my first impressions on the level 19, well, soon to be the second, just marked as the second F4 Meteor, and the level 16, soon to be I think it falls just in category 5 in what the new tiering system is going to be. Yak-15. I hope you found this interesting. I hope this gave you some guidelines for perhaps what you're grinding at the moment. Please click like if you do, subscribe if you want to see more. Fly smart, fly safe, and I'll catch you in the skies.